Well, hello there, lovely people of the planet Earth. We are having a new moon in sidereal and tropical Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. And this is a sign, this is a symbol of what this channel tries to describe, what I've been trying to put my finger on forever. This both and, not either or, not subject, not object experience that we're having of the beginning end. Oh my goodness. Words have led us astray. Putting meaning into symbols has divided us. But it's what we have for this moment. And what I want to talk to you about, and I'm going to do this meditation that I think is appropriate, explain an idea that I have explained before, and do a 3-card pull for us. But I will be back after the new moon has reached completion at 7:23 Mountain Time, so that I can give you a proper reading of the energy, because as we know, we wait until after the new moon to feel the energy that we're in, and in the full moon we feel the buildup of it, so we do the reading beforehand. Anyway, that's what we do on this channel, and it's also, you'll notice, a duality. We do it both ways so that we hit both sides of the line of duality. Because we're not concerned with the light, we're not concerned with the dark. What we're concerned with is the drill bit of time and space that the light and the dark are symbols of. Symbols of body, which is symbolic, spatial, classical, objective insofar as it's possible to be, and mind, semantic, quantum, time, right? Time is mind, and the zodiac is a clock. So where we are in this moment, between Pisces and Aries, before the beginning and the end, is the threshold, symbolically of course, between birth and death. And as you know, if you've ever been in either one of those, it could go either way. It could be a death, it could be a birth. And our job, if there can be said to be one at this moment, is to midwife the moment. It's to find what the darkness taught us that the light could not, which is our perception, right? It's how we see things that shapes the moment that we're in, which is both and can go either way, and also the road that stretches out before us. So to find the gifts of inheritance of this Kali Yuga, this black age, we have to be Persephone, we have to be Pluto's bride, as she accepts the underworld and the overworld. In the Greek mythology, this is how we divide the seasons into their symbolic representation of birth and death. To individuate is not to be the mother's daughter, nor the husband's wife, but to be your own woman. And for this season, this spring season, the symbol that I'm using is this duck or bunny symbol, right? It's the symbol of Gestalt psychology. This is a modified symbol. I'm working with it artistically as well. And it could either be a duck looked at one way, like this is the bill, or it could be a rabbit, and these are the ears. You can see it either way, but it's not within our perception yet to be able to see it both ways at once. Same with time, same with space, same with body, same with mind, same with quantum, same with classical, same with symbolic and semantic. So I want to propose to you that this is our threshold, right? This is not the moment when we heal the denizens of the dark and, you know, we bring some sort of a band-aid to warring situations. This is the moment when we surface, when we are able to see the symbols as one and not paint everything with a white light wholeness, but to realize that when you run that white light through the spectrum, as with some of the other resources that I'm going to pin here for you, you see all the colors that were always there, always hiding in the light itself. And that's Pluto's job, right? Is to make life out of death. And that is a new way of being for us. You know, initiating from depth here. Kali Yuga, darkness, queen of the underworld. Compassionate insight and mystical healing initiates from this depth. Depth as habit, depth as ritual, depth as good and true and beautiful. So not death, not dark, but depth. Inclusive. We return from that depth to the light with the jewel of great price. And this is inward work. This is not I'm so sorry, but I've become so disillusioned with certain words, right? Like forgiveness. Atonement, yes, is one thing. Bring yourself back together as one. But with self-compassion in that depth, with commitment to, and commitment is another great word for this new moon. When the barrier between winter and spring melts, do you have mercy for yourself? Are you doing the work internally to not do as has been done to you? Or are you perpetuating what you hate? And just like that white light prism comparison, if we're compassionate but complicit, if we're compassionate but remain in denial, we are denying, and for most of us, we're women here, so we're denying us the emotional intelligence that is the queendom of marginalized people in narcissistic cultures. It's the way through. Emotional intelligence is the skillful means that shines through when we put ourselves into the equation, when we put ourselves and our self-compassion into what we're doing. When we meet each other on the ground of, yeah, living is hard, and this is a particularly brutal and bloody phase of our upbringing. We have to center ourselves in relation to the narcissism that centers itself as everything that is, and that it gets to genocide, ecocide, and suicide all of us, right? You get to protect yourself. I get to protect myself. I get to put myself into the equation, because if I don't bring forth what is within me, which is the ability to see both sides, essentially, a very simplistic way to put it, that is the most beautiful part of me, the part that allows everything to be human, from the table to the moose outside to the dog in my living room, yeah, to my very self. Am I including myself in humanity? Or am I trying only to turn around a battleship with a carved oar on my own? And this is a quiet internal moment where we get to honor this yearly cycle of Persephone's journey and the way that she values repair and relation above herself until she doesn't. And she becomes the queen of the underworld and says to her mother, effectively, I am no longer a child, and says to her husband, I am no longer your property. I am my own. So, for the people who are only going to stay long enough to do the reading and that little sermon, I'm sorry about that. Last Unicorn has been our journey into the darkness this time. Navratri starts after this new moon in Uttara Bhadrapada. This is the back legs of the funeral cot, right? This is the ending. This is where it stops. So this has been our journey through the darkness to find out, as April Shaley has asked us, what did you learn from the dark that the light could not teach you? Where did you find places of yourself that were dark? And can you let them live? Can you let them live in the light? Both in Pisces, right? So we have one in the tropical at the anaretic degree, and we have the planetary pile up in 4 degrees of Pisces in the sidereal. And we know when we get a double signature like that, when both calendars, essentially, when both clocks effectively represent the entire sign, that it's a particularly strong time, and it has been. Please be gentle with yourselves. Please be loving with yourselves. Please put yourself into the equation and recognize that there are some places you do not have to go right now, and you do not have the information to tell someone else, these denizens of the dark, how they should be living their lives. What you have is yours. And if you can focus there through the next couple of days while this moon comes into its crescent phase, you may just understand what you want for the first time. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. Durga mantras, very, very good for this dark moon. Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Namaha. Om Aim Saraswatiye Namaha. Interesting thing I found out about this little deck, and also just to return to The Last Unicorn for one last second, I know how bad the music is in that movie. I want to suggest that you read the book anyway. The book is much better. But this is a modern myth, and we need them. And we need forest stories, and we need creatures that are non-human to help us understand a wider universe. Also, there are 2 lovers cards in this deck, and it is a little bit of a trick. One is where the magician is tied to and hugging the tree, bound by love, and the other one is where the Prince Lear, is writing love letters to a woman that he thinks he loves, and he does, but he thinks she is a human woman and she is a unicorn. I'll just leave that with you. Our past for this reading. Oh my goodness, the 10 of Coins. This is an important card. This is, oh, that's better. This is a card of legacy and inheritance. And doing it the way you always did it because it got you lots of money and it got you lots of power. It's an earthly 10, which means the end of a cycle too. Just to be completely mundane, the next 2 years are all about capitalism, you guys, and watching the dinosaurs gorge on themselves. It's been fairly unpleasant so far. It can get more unpleasant. And you know, most births do. Let's say that. Everybody poops in a birth. It's not widely talked about, but we're going to be showing our whole ass for the next 2 years. Where you got the money, where you hid the money, how you relate to the money. And it's going to get really personal, and it's going to get really inherited funky. So let's give ourselves some grace as we move away from a hoarding culture, and we move away from a culture of patriarchy, whiteness, and capitalism that has taught men to love unicorns, and unicorns that it was okay to be imprisoned. Our past is the 10 of coins. Our present, ooh, the Chariot. This is a victory card. This is finding balance. Great spring equinox concept. It's getting the light horse and the dark horse yoked to the chariot together so you can ride it out of the underworld. This is a beautiful Persephone image, and it's just a great it's a great set of imagery. Now, do I love the last unicorn's representation of it where he's fighting the dragon? I'm not sure I do, and I'll tell you why. We don't fight dragons after capitalism. We learn to speak to dragons. We stop being enslaved by our symbols of good and evil, and we learn how to use both the light and the darkness, the grief, the loss, the love, the joy, by turns, in cyclical nature, until we can see the oneness of everything that's here. There is nothing here to hate. Everything is Ma. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. Everything is Ma. You do not hold nature, she holds you. Building the capacity to get your heart big enough to love it all, even the hard parts, even the dark parts, even the dragons. But like I said, we are not lifting up the denizens of the dark here. We are seeing ourselves properly. And the Chariot, forward movement through positive balance, is our present card. The future, a crossroads. Every birth is a death. Every death is a birth. It's not your job to decide it. It's your job to be present and to midwife it as best you can. And that means there are going to be people who are going to lose their minds. It's a really stressful time in human evolution. And you get to choose in each and every moment. And sometimes that person will be you, right? And sometimes that person will be me. Like I said, we're going to show our whole ass over the next 2 years. And it's not going to be, I get to show the manufactured version of myself to the world as it has been. It's going to be, who are you when you face the waterfall? Who are you when you poop in the birth, right? Who's there to help you get the poop out of the way so that the baby doesn't get dirty in a way that could hurt it, or you get dirty in a way that could hurt you? Who's the community that's going to help you turn this death into a birth? How are you going to avoid making a tomb out of a tunnel through your sacred choices and through your skillful means? And skillful means is admitting that we're all here toiling in the mud and doing our very best. But right now, you got to factor yourself into the equation. If you haven't done it in the past, right? If you don't have good boundaries, if you feel everybody, if you feel everything that's happening a little bit too much, if you're very, very sensitive, factor yourself in. And if you're a narcissist, I can't really help you right now. I'm too busy working on myself and all my issues, some of which are narcissistic, no doubt. All right, this is all about the Two of Coins. These two have been coming up for me. The Two of Coins means, you're balancing, you're juggling, and you're doing too many things. In order to make a decision, you're going to have to put a couple things down. New moons are great for that. I won't belabor the point. We've done it enough over, 15 years of the blog and the videos. I'll be really interested to see what this begins to turn into in the near future. The Sixth Sense by Belaruth Naparstek, Activating Psychic Potential. There were a couple of things in here that I didn't read, and this is the very last activation exercise. And the ones that I didn't read were not for empathic, super sensitive people. So I'm hoping that you trust my cultivation. No, what do they call it in art? Curation. And that you enjoy this next exercise, which is designed to help you find a creative solution to a puzzle or problem you've been working on or trying to solve through the use of symbols and metaphors. The problem could be anything: a work problem, intellectual question, abstract or concrete. Maybe you need a key to unlock a door you can't seem to open, or something to free your creativity or show you a different way of seeing something. So to start with, decide on the problem or puzzle for which you need a breakthrough and jot it down. Then choose a symbol for it, some metaphoric way of representing the issue. Don't spend a whole lot of time picking the symbol. It can be how the problem seems to you: slippery like an eel, or mushy like mud, or hard and impenetrable like a wall of concrete. Or the symbol could represent the problem itself: a nasty, destructive virus, represented by a death's head, or a decaying organization that takes the form of desiccated fruit. If you draw a complete blank, pick anything: a stone, a flower, a face. That'll work too. Once you've decided on your issue and your symbol for it, now you're ready to begin. And it may be good to do this one on the solstice, on the 20th, 21st, as your meditation. Keep your writing materials close by, and when the exercise is over, record your impressions faithfully, even if they make no sense to you. Often there's great value in returning to this exercise and using it repeatedly, letting it develop and shift over time in its own way, of course. Imagery to solve a problem metaphorically. Approximately 12 minutes. To begin with, see if you can position yourself comfortably, shifting your weight so you're allowing your body to be fully supported, with your head, neck, and spine straight. And taking a deep, full cleansing breath. Inhaling as fully and comfortably as you can. And as you do, warm energy of the breath to any part of your body that's sore or tense or tight. And releasing the discomfort as you exhale. And just feel your breath going to all the tight, tense places as you elongate the breath a little. Loosening and softening them. And then gathering up all the tension to breathe it out. So that more and more you can feel safe and easy. Watching the cleansing action of the breath. With friendly but detached awareness. And any distracting thoughts or feelings you might have, these too can be sent out with a breath. Released with the exhale so that inside you can be still and quiet, like a lake with no ripples. And now, imagining a place where you feel safe and peaceful and easy, a place that's either real or imaginary, someplace you always wanted to go, or maybe you go to now, or you used to go. It really doesn't matter, just so it's a place that feels good and safe and peaceful to you. And allowing the place to become real to you in all its dimensions. And looking around you, taking the place in with your eyes, enjoying the colors and the scenery. Looking over to your left and over to your right. And listening to the sound of the place. Birds singing, leaves rustling, waves crashing, a stream gurgling, maybe crickets singing, or the steady thrum of rain on a cozy roof. Just let your ears become attuned to the special sounds of your place that's so safe and peaceful to you. And feeling whatever you're sitting against or lying upon, whether it's sand or grass, a pine needly porous forest floor, or a nice warm rock in the sun. And maybe you feel a breeze blowing crisp and dry, or balmy wet. There might be the subtlest caress of a fragrant, gentle breeze, or perhaps the bracing sharpness of salt sea air, the heavy sweetness of meadow grass, or the pungent mix of pine and peat moss in a forest. And as you become more and more attuned to the safety and beauty of your place, feeling thankful and happy to be there, you might begin to feel a kind of tingling, a pleasant, energizing something in the air all around you. Something that contains expectancy and excitement. A sense that something wonderful is just about to happen. And looking out in front of you, just a few feet ahead, you can see a kind of shimmering in the air. Like waves of heat rising from a hot desert floor. Waves of shimmering energy. Just a few feet in front of you. turning into a kind of magical, translucent screen, but with a certain solidity to it. And as you watch the screen with a kind of peaceful curiosity, you gradually become aware of a form appearing on it, becoming more and more defined as you watch. And you begin to realize that this symbol is the one that you have chosen, the symbol that represents your puzzle, your issue, showing up on the screen in all three dimensions, becoming more and more defined and crisp and clear. And you notice that you can watch it with a kind of peaceful, detached curiosity as it slowly starts to turn, allowing you to see it from every angle. Its form, its color. You notice its size and shape and texture. You may even hear certain sounds coming from it. It might hum or sing or vibrate. It may even have words to speak or a scent all its own. And so you find yourself examining it as it turns, carefully and with all of your attention. Friendly, detached, and peaceful. And now, if you would, see if this image on the screen wants to shift or change in any way. Maybe it already has. But see if it wants to move in any direction, change its shape or color or size, modulate its sound, tell you something. Or even if it wants to adjust its texture and feel. So you're just waiting to see what it wants to do. If it wants to do anything. Neither pushing nor pulling. Just letting it transform itself in its own way. In its own time. And it might not want to change itself at all, and that's all right too, if it doesn't. But if it does, and it might, just watching the shift occur in a state of calm but curious detachment, observing the transformation with all the attention you can bring to bear in a state of peaceful, detached curiosity. Letting it take however long it needs to. Understanding that it need not go to completion. It need not make any sense to you. And so, when you're ready, understanding that you can return to this place and the screen and the symbol whenever you wish, letting it take however long it needs to take, knowing perfectly well that however long it takes will be just the right amount of time. You can begin to let the image fade until the screen is once again empty, and then letting the screen begin to shimmer and fade. And once again, very aware of your beautiful surroundings, feeling safe and comfortable, relaxed and easy. Although perhaps the colors are brighter, the sounds are more vivid, the air is more alive. And knowing you can return whenever you wish. You can breathe deeply into your belly, allowing yourself to come back to this reality, feeling your feet, aware of your whole body, and knowing in a deep place that something powerful has happened and that this will be useful to you sooner or later, and that you are better and wiser for this. And so you are. Don't forget to jot down your impressions before moving on. Otherwise, details are easy to forget. Besides, they make sense to you later rather than sooner.